Hey everyone. This is my third and final installment of my mini Tap Titans artifact guide. Once again, if you just happened to stumble upon this video without watching the first two parts, it is highly recommended, or should I say mandatory, to watch those first, because in this video I'll be going over the artifact scraps, also known as the shit tier artifacts. The link to the first part will be in an annotation on the screen right about now or in the description if you miss it. Anyways, let's keep going, shall we? Universal Fissure increases the duration of the Warcry skill. I really should have paired this with the Opulence Ring and Parchment in the end of the last video, but I figured this one should be a few steps down because the Warcry skill is much less use than Critical Strike and Hand of Midas. While the Warcry skill may be fairly useful in the early game when your tap damage is low, it becomes useless and is even a detriment to your gameplay later on, because your tap damage is far superior and the skill lags really hard because of all those heroes on the screen having to attack faster. Amulet of the Valrons and Divine Chalice, the last of the gold artifacts I have to mention. The amulet increases monster gold, while Divine Chalice gives you a chance to get 10 times the gold drop from a monster. From first glances, you may wonder why these artifacts are rated so low, because their bonuses seem to be quite useful, but I have to highlight the keyword here. Monster. In this game, treasure chests and bosses don't count as monsters, so these artifacts only affect the normal monsters, you know, the ones that barely give gold at all. Which means these artifacts are nothing compared to Crown Egg and Knight's Shield in terms of their effectiveness. In fact, it will be completely worthless once you have level 245 in Crown Egg. Sacred Scroll, Hunter's Ointment, Saintly Shield and Laborer's Pendant. You can see I'm grouping up quite a bunch of these now because they all do the same thing. Lower the cooldowns of their respective skills up to a maximum of 50%. Not worth keeping because what's the point of lowering a cooldown of a skill you hardly or never even use? Not to mention the super low level cap of 10, so it's a pretty big waste of an artifact slot. Otherworldly Armor and Warrior's Revival reduces the chances of your hero dying as well as the time taken to revive them. Surprisingly, these aren't completely useless, but they're definitely not ones you would orgasm getting over. If Outerworldly Armor didn't have a level cap, it would probably be a top tier artifact, but instead it's capped at 50%, meaning chances are still really high that your heroes will die. Warrior's Revival is basically the same thing, it's level restricted so you can't have a death timer of 0 for your heroes unfortunately. But if it were a toss-up between this and Otherworldly Armor, I'd go with Warriors because it's more reliable. So yeah. The only reason keeping these artifacts from not being complete garbage is because of tournaments, and how heroes dying stunts your progress quite a bit when you want to prestige at that point, and not everyone wants to resort to diamonds. And lastly, Dark Cloak of Life and Savior Shield. Less boss life and more boss time, pretty straightforward to understand. Savior Shield is pretty shitty because if you really need 150 seconds to kill a boss, then it's probably time to prestige. And that puts your chances of a hero dying at risk too, because you'll have to go over the 5-second mark to get over 30. Source, Simple Math. Dark Cloak of Life decreases boss HP by up to 50%, which isn't bad. But the artifact in itself is expensive and doesn't have a good old damage boost to go with it. And that marks the end of this guide. Damn, that was pretty long. Well, hopefully now you know which artifacts to salvage, and which not to salvage. May luck be with your side to grant you Undead Aura and all those goody artifacts. Unfortunately, luck is not on my side for Worldly Illuminator and Hero's Thrust. 20 out of 29 artifacts acquired and I still don't have any of those too, even when salvaging dozens upon dozens of times. Rip me, I guess. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed or found this helpful, and have a super duper day.